Happy 2025, everybody. I hope everyone had a great holiday and overall good 2024. It's a new year, so that means there's brand new opportunities arising. I think the best way to start it off is by going over my 10 favorite movies of 2024. And of course, we're going to have some honorable mentions. I think we should just dive right in with my 10 favorite films of the year, because I know you guys are going to be more excited to see my 10 least favorite, because it's going to be a little bit different compared to probably what you've seen on other people's lists. I have not seen like over 100 movies of 2024. I think I've only seen a little over 50, I believe. So, you know, there's going to be some empty room there. So please comment down below, suggest any movies maybe I haven't seen that you think I should watch. And yeah, at the end of the day, this is all opinion based. So please let me know what you think about my list and how you would change it into your own. So anyways, let's just dive right in and let's see what we got. First of 3 honorable mentions is going to go to Deadpool and Wolverine, a comic book film that has grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide at the box office, which I think all of us expected. So personally, my hype for this film, I think honestly many of you probably had the same feeling, but it was mainly due to the sheer amount of fan theories and cameo speculations that went around over a year in advance of its release. And of course, we got Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine, which is something we never thought would happen again after Logan, if you guys seen that movie. And overall, I mean, the movie was a complete package of entertainment. I mean, all the action, the comedy, the characters, everything just smashed so well. And I really believe it lived up to most people's expectations in one way or another. For me, this year was so much stronger in other genres, and though I did love so many moments in this film, especially the comedy, like I said, I did feel it wasn't really on par with some of the other releases that came out. I mean, all these honorable mentions are so close to being in the top 10, so don't look at this the wrong way. I still thought this was like one of the better action movies of the year, and just really, honestly, probably the best overall comic book movie of the year, which probably wasn't that hard to beat. But honestly, I mean, the chemistry between Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, I mean, it's just profound. I mean, their characters are so incredible, and just the overall experience of watching the film in theaters with, you know, a full theater of Marvel fans was just a fantastic experience. It was hard not to at least give this movie credit for an honorable mention. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is one of the more visually stunning movies of the year. I had high hopes for this film due to how absolutely incredible the most recent trilogy was. It probably is in my top 5 favorite trilogies of all time, to be honest with you. So Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, you know, that's a modern classic in my personal opinion. So overall, I was very, very excited for this movie. It was primarily driven by how it promised to expand the legacy of Caesar and basically just take the saga into a new uncharted territory. And I have to say, the movie delivered in terms of world building and emotional depth, and overall, just artistically, it was great. And the characters from Noah, Rocca, Proximus, and pretty much everyone was really, really good. I was nervous these characters wouldn't be anywhere on the level of Caesar, but I mean, I thought everyone did a great job, especially the acting. This movie does have some slow parts, but these are very necessary to the plot, like most movies. You're going to see most of these slow moments towards the second half of the movie once Noah meets Rocca. Also, I mean, Proximus, the antagonist, he was fantastic. I just wish he had more screen time. And that one line is probably like top 5 line of the year. What a wonderful day! So this is kind of similar to Deadpool and Wolverine. I mean, in a way, that it's just there's more movies I found more compelling and entertaining and appealing, but I found this super good overall. And I mean, it's just a reminder and how powerful this franchise really is and how it continues to evolve, no pun intended. Lastly, for my honorable mention slot before we get into my top 10 favorite movies of 2024, we have Trap. This movie really pulled me in with its wild concept. The tension was insane. I mean, M. Night Shyamalan nailed the atmosphere like he always does. The acting, especially from the lead, made it feel so real. And of course, there's a twist, because M. Night is pretty much the master at twists nowadays. That's what he's known for. And I really liked the unexpected turn of setting during the second part of the movie. But I did feel the last act dragged on for way too long. I think that's a universal opinion from everyone that has seen the movie. I think we all agree on that. I mean, that was really the only one major complaint I had, though. So even though it didn't make my top 10 list, I mean, it's still one of the most intense thrillers of 2024, and it's definitely worth watching overall. Kicking off the top 10, we have one of the most beloved animated movies of the year, The Wild Robot. This includes some of the most beautiful animation to date and some wonderfully crafted and lovable characters overall. While some minor flaws are apparent, like it leans more into some of the usual cliches and tropes of other talking animal animated films, it really delivers on the emotional moments that matter most. I do believe this is much better than Inside Out 2, which is really hard to say on the internet because people love that movie, but I think this will leave a lasting impression on the world of animated film, so please do yourself a favor and watch this film because it's beautiful. DreamWorks, just please keep making original content. I mean, I'm acting like there's a studio executive watching right now, but just please. Terrifier 3, a movie created by one of my favorite modern-day horror filmmakers, Damien Leone. Terrifier 3 really isn't your ordinary horror flick. The actual plot of the Terrifier franchise has been a bit lackluster, but to be honest, I think it's, and no one really watched the movies for the plot. It's the unbelievable amount of violence and gore that pulls fans in like myself. And man, I'm still thinking about that shower scene. And honestly, people don't really talk about the rat scene, if you guys remember that, if you guys seen the movie. But I mean, both scenes are just absolutely horrific. I'm surprised no one really talks about the rat scene that often. That shit was nasty. Art the Clown is both funnier and more terrifying than ever, finally solidifying his place as a top-tier horror character. I also can't get over how incredible the costumes look. It's just great this time around. I mean, it's always been good, but this time around, awesome. The plot itself thickens and introduces some new lore into this one, which I really respected. The ending itself actually leaves us off with a good plot twist that will continue us into the final installment, which is I'm equally excited as I am upset because it's all coming to an end. I have a good feeling Terrifier 4 won't actually be the end. I'm sure there's going to be spin-offs because, I mean, it's making a lot of money for its budget. Let's just hope the rights of the character and the franchise overall just stays with Damien because we don't want another Halloween End situation. Gladiator 2, a sequel to one of my favorite movies of all time. I was surprised to hear mixed opinions about this film before watching because the trailer looks genuinely great besides the Kanye song they decided to use. That was a little off. I'm happy to say it did not disappoint. Historical epics are one of my favorite genres, so I had a feeling I would enjoy this, and it definitely lived up to my expectations. And listen, it didn't need to exceed the first Gladiator, because I think Gladiator 1 is a 5-star movie, like a masterpiece. So I was just hoping this sequel was just a good follow-up with, obviously with great action. And that's exactly what it was. I mean, Denzel Washington, one of the best actors ever. I mean, you can put him at number 1, I wouldn't be angry at you. It's probably the standout of this film, which comes to no surprise. But what really sold me was the film's grand scope that felt truly massive. While some of the CGI animals were questionable, I mean, I hear a lot of that online as well, it didn't really detract from the experience. Actually, I thought the rhino scene, I think it's in the trailer, so you guys can, it's not really a spoiler or anything. It looked impressively realistic. The action sequences were barbaric, bloody, exceptionally well executed, and on top of all that, the score was fantastic. Hans Zimmer, I'm pretty sure he wasn't part of this, but he was a part of the original, and I mean, he's one of the best film score producers really ever, and he was the mastermind behind the score of the first Gladiator, so that's why it was so angelic and why it's really known as one of the best films with like that great score. I don't think he was part of this movie, but I still thought the score was fantastic, and whoever was behind it did a great job. The plot itself was a bit cliche and felt much like its predecessor, but obviously it was still well executed, and it really kept me engaged throughout. So Furiosa, for my first Mad Max movie, this absolutely delivered. Not only did this include Chris Hemsworth's best acting role really ever, Hemsworth managed to create an outstanding charismatic villain that is worthy to be remembered. He clearly looked like he was having too much fun playing this role. Miller captured the hopelessness of this new reality where society lives under self-destruction and dystopia. So the first half of the film is based upon the complete origin of Furiosa and how she got to where she is towards the second half of the film. She may literally only have about 20 lines in the whole movie as well, so when she does speak, it's usually a big deal. The action sequences, I mean, they're exhilarating and almost exhausting, actually. In a good way, of course. The sequences are very drawn out and really aren't quick to the point. So basically, these scenes can range to almost 20 minutes. Though that may not be a bad thing, but some people may like the quick action, kind of like what the MCU has. I personally thought the drawn out action was great though, so I mean, I had a good time. There is a couple obvious CGI moments used for backdrops, but when it came down to practical effects, it looked absolutely incredible. The CGI won't take you out of the movie at all, unlike some MCU films. This film ended on a high note with outstanding action, acting, set pieces, and just an overall visceral, intense watch. Now I just have the adrenaline to watch Fury Road. Like, I want to see where this story goes with Furiosa, just the overall Mad Max kind of story. Boy Kills World, the hidden gem of 2024. Yeah, I bet you guys didn't expect this one. So this movie was actually almost at my number 1 spot back when I watched it. I believe back in April, I think. Listen, if you're looking for an over-the-top, brutal action flick, this movie has it but 10 times. And I'm telling you guys right now, this had probably the greatest and most intense final boss fight scene like I think I've ever seen. Also, this movie included probably the most grotesque cheese grater scene since Evil Dead Rise. I don't know if you guys have seen Evil Dead Rise, but oh my god, the cheese grater scene in that was crazy. So this was on par with that. So this is pretty much Street Fighter in a nutshell if you really think about it. So not only was the plot, special effects, and the overall character dynamics, it was just all great. The movie had a pretty stacked cast as well. Also, the balance between humor and moments of heart is great. It's just a bummer that the advertising was terrible. I mean, I didn't really hear about this movie at all. I mean, the day I went to see it is when I heard about it. Maybe this won't resonate with everyone, but I really thought this was an absolutely incredible film and just one of the most entertaining films of the year overall. Obviously, it has its flaws, but I mean, it's just so goddamn entertaining. I didn't really care to critique it. The 7th installment in the Alien franchise, Alien Romulus. Now, this movie is easily the best since the first 2 Alien movies, without a doubt. I was expecting this film to be the darkest of the 7 films, and that's pretty much exactly what it ultimately was. Probably the most violent of the bunch as well. It keeps up with the crazy body horror like the original, which we all expected from the trailers. But what really made this movie for me was the last half. It was absolutely horrifying once they revealed something absolutely huge. And listen, I mean horrifying, guys. Without giving too much away, there's a massive reveal that pretty much becomes the closest thing to a live-action Dead Space movie. So for anybody who may not be a huge fan of the franchise, I still believe you'll find this exhilarating. I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, and the last 30 to 40 minutes was pure, nonstop, intense horror. And along with all that, I mean, the visuals are hands down the best in the franchise with some actually remarkable shots. That said, though, some hardcore fans might take issue with a few of the creative decisions, and Fede Alvarez does a fantastic job of maintaining the core elements that made Alien a classic, while also introducing new twists that could either divide or deepen fan appreciation. Personally, I loved it. This is without a doubt, I mean, probably one of the top movies with sound design and overall cinematography. I mean, also the posters. I mean, you can't get me. Those are some of the best posters we've seen in a while. I mean, the whole Alien franchise is known for their posters. It's just great. Everything about it's great. Nosferatu, a gothic horror directed by one of my favorite modern day filmmakers, Robert Eggers. I mean, this was absolutely outstanding in every category. This became my most anticipated movie of the year after seeing Longlegs, so I was nervous, and my expectations were too high, but fortunately, it wasn't a letdown, not even in the slightest. Robert Eggers is flawless in his filmmaking career so far, actually 4 out of 4. Now, I understand that this didn't do anything new other than the look of Count Orlok, which is Nosferatu in the movie, by the way. It worked for me. I thought his look was actually really creepy and dramatic in a good way. But the way Eggers puts you into this era that's being represented really makes you feel like you're there. His commitment to research is actually insane. He nailed the atmosphere, 100%. Listen, this may not be as good as Bram Stoker's Dracula by Coppola, but I still found this masterful and ultimately one of the best horror historical art pieces in recent memory. Eggers, I mean, he's just in his glory days right now, and I honestly think he can take on anything, and it will turn out incredible. He's young. I think he's in his 30s still, early 30s, and it's kind of incredible. Just imagine him directing like a Dark Souls film or a standalone pirate film would be great. Oh my god, just thinking about it, oh my god. Smile 2, a film I actually didn't really care for that much when the trailers first dropped. I genuinely thought the first Smile was good, but I didn't really know where they would take the franchise. From the pure terror and torment that the pop star protagonist endures to the horrifying atmosphere and gut-wrenching body horror, I mean, this film exceeded my expectations far beyond what I initially anticipated. Naomi Scott, who plays Sky Riley, delivered an absolutely incredible performance. And I'm saying this right now, I believe she had the best performance of the entire year. I'm talking Oscar-worthy. Her character arc navigates intense pain and reveals a deeper message about substance abuse. By the end, I mean, I was thoroughly impressed and surprised at how this film managed to elevate itself and surpass its last movie. Like any film, there are a couple issues I noticed throughout, one being a certain segment of the film towards the end, but nothing crazy. Obviously, there's a couple pacing issues and moments that felt a little over the top. But listen, I love over the top shit. I mean, Terrifier 3 is in my top 10, so obviously I'm going to love that. But most people are probably not going to like that kind of bit of the movie, but listen, I loved it. But overall, I mean, the gore, jump scares, to the overall plot, this sequel captures everything the first film did, but amplifies it to 100. I think it's safe to say it's the best horror movie of the year, hands down. Psych, this is actually the best horror movie of the year, and I don't care what anybody says. This shit just unexpectedly became a masterpiece. And honestly, the trailer is really good because it hides literally everything that made this movie disgusting in a good way and where the plot leads. Because the last half of the film, I literally have no word. I don't know. It's just incredible. The body horror is absolutely insane. It has some of the most disgusting ass moments I think I've ever seen. Some of the grossest scenes in the movie are literally just when the character eats. That's it. And I almost couldn't watch. The blend of grotesque visuals with a profound symbolic narrative about self-acceptance, along with powerhouse performances by Demi Moore, Dennis Quaid, Margaret Qualley, it solidifies this as an all-timer in the horror genre. This film won't be for everyone, all right? I'll just say that now. It 100% isn't. It's a very erotic type film. There's a lot of butt. I'll just say that. But in all seriousness, like, I kid you not, I had to take a solid 10 minutes to process what I had just watched. But it definitely is one of those movies that makes me excited to want to make a movie, you know? You know what I mean? You gotta get the sometimes after watching a movie. But honestly, like, I really haven't seen anything like this before, and I adore this movie. Yeah, I mean, we all know this was going to be number one. It's probably the most popular pick on everyone's list. It's Dune Part 2. Listen, the TikTok review glazing wasn't a hoax, alright? This movie is a masterpiece. Denis Villeneuve has made a monumental achievement in science fiction films, alright? This movie is why people watch cinema and why cinema exists. Villeneuve is one of the most, probably the best modern day filmmaker, and I'm telling you right now, I mean, if this guy ever collaborates with Christopher Nolan, oh boy, whatever they make together will go down to history as the best film ever made. I'm already calling it now, baby. 2025, calling it now, it will be the best film if they ever make, if they ever collab. But yeah, I mean, Timothée Chalamet, come on, he's the future, and he delivers probably his best performance to date. I mean, guys, everyone in this movie was masterful. Everybody. Dune 2 was what it needed to be and more. Everything this time around was taken to a whole new level and just really blew me away. And I'm someone who thought the first Dune, like not the one in the 80s, but the actual one before Dune Part 2, I thought it was mid. And oh boy, Jiminy Christmas, Denis Villeneuve strikes again with this behemoth of a film. An IP most people thought it was blatantly impossible to put into a movie, but we might just have to accept this could be in the conversation for the best sequel ever. And I know that's dangerous to say on the internet, but hey man, it's just my thoughts. Just an absolute achievement beyond comprehension. Oh my god, I can just imagine Denis or Nolan just creating a Blood Meridian film, live action. Oh my god. The future's looking good, guys. And that wraps up my 10 favorite movies of 2024. It was tough to narrow it down because of the sheer amount of amazing films, but these are really the ones that stood out to me the most. Let me know in the comments if any of your favorite movies made the list. I'm sure they did. Because like I said in the intro, I mean, I missed some big movies last year. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is GPGuy107. Please like and share and subscribe. If you haven't already, please comment down below for any suggestions on video games or just any ideas, maybe with movies, just anything pop cultural related content. And with all that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.